What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe. Dead Paddler, so I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big ups to everybody on Sunday. We're getting close to the end of the weekend. So I'm hoping so far your weekend has gone pretty well. So with that being said, I first want to thank all of my subscribers. Again, I thank y'all and appreciate y'all for still being a part of my movement. Those of you who have been with me from day one, my A1s from day ones. Those of you who have recently subscribed, I want to welcome you to Mocha's Cafe de Paris family. And if this is your first time checking out any of my content ever, for the first time ever, and you like today's content, please make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. So big ups to everybody in my chat. Miss Sassy Diva, appreciate you for stopping by. Thought it was imperative that we talked about this, y'all, because a lot of these content creators have been dancing around it, especially these male content creators. And you know, when it comes to issues that only affect women, the majority of them are not going to address it, especially those who don't have daughters. Especially those who don't have women, who they strongly care about, you know. And the thing about it is, these type of issues, the majority of men do not care unless it's an issue that personally affects a woman that they care about, their sister, their mother, their wife or fiance or whatever. Anything other than that, they pretty much don't have no compassion for women who have experienced being targeted by pedophiles. Now, I wanted today's content, first of all, for everybody who's coming in. Pedophiles have created the thought culture and promiscuousness in women. And the thing about it is, a lot of men, a lot of these guys, I'm not going to put all guys in the same box, because that is what men do with us. Men put all women in the same box. They will say all black women or all modern day black women. They don't never say some. They don't ever say a few. It's always all. They generalize all of us. And that's the only thing that rubs me the wrong way, with a lot of these male content creators. If you're going to talk about Black women, okay, that's fine. If you're going to do bash, if you love to build your platform off of bashing Black women, I'm okay with that. I'm not offended by that because a lot of that stuff don't apply to me. But what offends me is when they say all, and you hear it all the time. All Black women. All Black women. And it's on every content. But then I'm like, you saying all Black women, but then you have a few Black women in your chat. You know, some of them have wrenches. Some of them are subscribed to you. So it's like you damn near saying even those who support you, you know, is you're applying the message to them. When you say all Black women are cultures or all Black women are undesirable, you're letting me know, even though I'm in your chat room and I'm cash apping to you, or I'm supporting you, or I'm rooting for you in my chat, that you're basically telling me that's what I am too. Because again, you're saying all. You're not indicating some or a few Black women. You're putting all women in the same box. But anyway, I want to talk about how the pedophile pookies have created a thought culture and promiscuousness in women. Because the truth is, pedophiles are getting exposed and they are multiplying like roaches day by day. And since many of them have high rank in social media places or notoriety, they keep getting passes for their immoral behavior. What's up, love you? Good to see you. Appreciate you for coming in. There are little girls that would never get to experience just simply being little girls. There are little girls becoming women overnight. And you know why some of these little girls are becoming women overnight? What about that uncle who's creeping in her bedroom 2, 3 in the morning? You know what I mean? Every grandmother has that one uncle, every grandmother has that one son that would never move out. I remember I had an uncle that lived with my grandmother forever until she passed. Then he finally went and got his own place because he didn't have a choice. Every little girl had to become a woman overnight because of that one perverted uncle. When you were spending night at grandma's house, that one perverted uncle who would creep in your room 2, 3 in the morning when grandma is knocked out sleep. Or if it's not the uncle, if it's not men in their family, it's the mother's boyfriends. We see it all the time on the news. Every time you look, you see 1,000 stories on YouTube. Look at how many young women are getting molested and sexually assaulted by their mother's boyfriends, by their stepfathers. And believe it or not, in criminal justice, I've learned that most children that are murdered or are physically harmed, it is at the hands of a man that's not related to them. Now, we do know that in some cases, yeah, there are little girls that are getting raped by their own fathers. There are little girls that are getting raped by their own uncles. Yes, it does happen in the family. A lot of little girls have experienced sexual trauma by family members, but it's even worse with men that aren't related to them. And in most cases, statistics states that the majority of little girls that experience some type of physical harm is usually for men that aren't related to them, which is their mama's boyfriends, their stepdaddies. These are men who didn't give birth to them. And you know what? It is by exactly, love you. Of course, the mother's going to cover it up. You know how many, I personally know young women who resent their mothers because their mothers knew what the boyfriend doing. What's up, Nerly? The mothers knew. And you have some women so dick thirsty, they will put their children in harm's way just to have a man, just so they can say they got somebody. They don't care that that man is coming in and sneaking in a child's room all time of night. They're married to these men. You know, they're still having babies from these men. Knowing these men got sexual pedophilia, got sexual pedophilia tendencies, and they turn a blind eye. You can't tell when your daughter is not her bubbly self. You can't tell when her character changes when this man comes around. You can't tell when your daughter or your son is not talking. They don't seem like themselves when a certain individual is around them. It is things as a mother you have to pay attention to. But again, the thirst of dick and being dick thirsty will make you overlook a lot of things. Or the fact that you don't want to be lonely, you don't want to be by yourself, you will overlook a lot of the red flags because you want a man so bad, and you don't care if your children are uncomfortable, you don't notice changes in their behavior. Me as a mother, I pay attention to everything. I know when my daughter's not acting right. I know when she's acting funny. I know when a certain person comes in her presence, she's not herself. And you know what? As a mother, that's when you got to be a goddamn investigator. Now, you want to check these dudes' cell phones when you think they cheating on you. You want to check their text messages to see who's texting them, but you'll be surprised how many women are more interested in a nigga cheating on them or doing the men than their children's well-being. Yep, very true. I'm doing fine, Nerly. Thank you for asking. I always say just because you have children, that does not mean you love them, want them, or need them. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a lot of women out here that are breeding babies like roaches. They don't want them. They don't love them. And they don't want to mother them. Anybody could have kids. But, you know, anybody can conceive a child. But it does not mean you're mother material. And society has a lot of women believing that they are mother material. Only because, what's up, Datorian? Good morning. Well, actually, good afternoon. Yeah, a lot of these women, society is giving a lot of these women credit. I know some trifling ass women. DFACS should have took their kids long time ago. But you know what? DFACS never bothers the trifling women. You notice that, right? It's women that are decent that make one mistake, and they'll be all over you. Let me miss and not give my child her medication or something like that, and something happens. Defects all over me. These trifling, these hood rat, these hyenas who don't take care of their kids, defects take their time ruining their lives. And it's always been like that. Now, for those who coming in, I'm talking about y'all. For if you're trying to figure out what's on today's content, I'm talking about these pookie pedophiles that have created the thought culture and promiscuousness in women. Because a lot of these men, they're not talking about the pedophiles. A lot of them don't want to, because the truth is, a lot of these guys in the Black YouTube sector, they are more concerned about benefiting from these pedophile pookies than to disassociate themselves from men who have evidently shown they lack morals. And in some cases, a reason why a lot of these men will not address these pedophile pookies is because, for one, they're benefiting from them, and two, hell, they may have pookie pedophile tendencies themselves, or three, they don't have daughters. So their compassion for women is 0 to zilch. When you have a daughter, your compassion for women hit different. Because truth be told, the majority of these women in the chat room, all of us have been tried by a pedophile. Whether a black woman wants to admit it or not, we all have been tried by a pedophile. We all have been tried by a pedophile. We all have been tried by a pedophile. Every last one of us, including myself. I have had old men, thank God, none in my family, thank God, none of my mom's boyfriends, thank God. As Torian, we shall see. Thank God, by the grace of God, I did not have an uncle come in my room late at night and fondle with my genital area, because I had a mother who didn't play that BS, okay? My mom was one of those moms, she was on it. But what about the other black women who was not blessed like that? Who had a mom that was dick thirsty? She didn't care who came in the room. She let a boyfriend, she let a man, she met Pookie at the Texaco gas station because he was nice and offered to pump her gas in the vehicle, even though she paid for the gas. He was just nice enough to offer to pump the gas in it for her after she paid for it. And that got her giddy to where she felt comfortable giving this dude she met at the Texaco gas station her phone number. Now she done moved him in a week later. Because let's face it, some of us as black women have some dumb black mothers. All black women did not have smart black mothers. Some black women was born from black women that literally sucked, that was not mothers. But a lot of these men are not going to say that. They're just going to say black women are effed up. Well, some of us are effed up because we were birthed from effed up black women. Like I said, all of us have been tried by pedophile. How many women in here can say, as a young girl, there was always that old perverted dude, whether if it was a neighbor across the street, every time you came outside to ride your tricycle, he talking to you, giving you candy, holding conversations with you. All black women have been tried by pedophiles. And if you have not been sexually assaulted by one, it's by the grace of God. It's the grace of God that kept you from not losing your youth from a pedophile pervert. Nerly says at age 13, while shopping at Walgreens, there was a man at the age of 30. He kept asking me if I have a boyfriend. That exactly. That's what I'm saying. But a lot of these black male content creators just wanted to seem like a lot of young black women are being fast. We was fast. We wanted it. The problem is too many of us weren't educated by our mothers to know, listen, when a man approaches you a certain way, certain things he says and he does, you need to report it. Now, my daughter, I've always taught her that. Because my daughter has always been a little overly developed. And you know, a lot of these young ladies, they are overly developed. They got big breasts, they got big butts, you know, especially nowadays. My daughter is thicker than me. And my daughter was thick at the age of 5 years old. And I had to talk to her early to prepare her for the Pookie pedophiles that would try her. Every black woman has been tried. When you was 14, 15, it was that 30-year-old, that 40-year-old that was having inappropriate conversations with you. But no, we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about wigs, weaves, and you know, we want to talk about deadbeat fathers. The black community wants to talk about everything else but what's really important. Why are black content creators, why are we only talking about issues that affect the individual instead of the collective? One would think that pedophilia affects the overall community. That is not an individual issue. So I told my father on him, he went to Walgreens and talked to him about it and knocked him out. Exactly. But see, Nerly, you had a father. What about the little black girls who don't have dads, who don't have a connection with their bond? What about those who don't have somebody who they could turn to and say, my Uncle Willie been coming in my room every night? What about those who don't have fathers? Miss Sassy says, when I was in high school, older men would be waiting outside to try to pick up young teenagers while we walked home from school. Absolutely. But these brothers are not going to address that. We've all experienced. You get in. Truth be told, some of us who was spending night at our friend's house, at our friends' girlfriend's houses, you know, when you heard her daddy was looking at you inappropriately. Her oldest brother, who was way too old to even be liking you, was looking at you inappropriately. Truth be told, The majority of the Black community is in denial about pedophilia. The Black community wants to believe that pedophilia only exists in the suburbs or Catholic churches. They want to believe it's only it's Catholic priests or it's old creepy looking white men. That's the perception we think about when we hear the word pedophilia. A lot of y'all don't want to believe that pedophiles are I know a lot of successful men that are pedophile. Men who wear expensive Armani suits, expensive gator shoes. It's not always dirty, dingy, crabby looking men who look rejected, bums. I know when y'all hear pedophilia, you want to think it's a homeless guy who's dirty, who's dingy, got dirty fingernails, got holes in his shoes. You want to think it's that old creepy white man that walks around looking funny. He looks like he has a little Down syndrome. Thank you, Datorian, for the $5 donation. Appreciate you always looking out. Tithing to the congregation. I work in the field where I see married men that are pedophiles. I see men with good jobs that are pedophile. I'm saying these guys have high ranked positions. They are physicians. They are dental. I mean, they are dentists. They are physicians. They are attorneys. They work in public schools around your children. They football coaches, basketball coaches. These pedophiles have positions in which they are around children all of the time. They own child care centers. They have high-ranked positions in church, in the ministry. These are the ones that are teaching the Sunday schools. These are the ones that are preaching the good word behind the pulpit. Yeah, these pastor pedophiles. Remember Bishop Eddie Wrong, who denied till the day he died. He denied that he ain't touched none of them young boys. But I find it funny, you settled with them out of court. And a lot of people wanted to keep saying, once they saw Bishop Eddie Long's health was declining, people tried to make excuses for their pedophile pastor. You should have seen his members, like y'all do in the Black YouTube sector, how y'all so quick to defend y'all YouTube pastors, y'all cult leaders. They was defending Bishop Eddie Wrong, the cult leader. They arguing back and forth with other people after this man has been exposed. You have people, listen, we are in a world today, even when their cult leader is exposed, people are still going to ride or die with these exposed pedophiles. They're going to ride and die with them. We are in our last days, y'all. So everything that is wrong, people are going to make it right. Everything that is right, people are going to make it wrong. We are living in our last days. So just be prepared that a lot of these individuals are going to co-sign on a lot of immoral things. Things that should be abolished from the congregation. They're going to welcome it. We are in our last days. So it's to the point, it's pointless and even arguing and going back and forth with these individuals who favorite cult members are getting exposed. They're going to look past the glitches. They're going to look past all this, everything, every time God keeps putting out signs that people are really not who they are, These demonic cult members who worship their cult leaders are going to try to make it make sense. These are the days we are living in. And you just got to be prepared and realize there's no need arguing with them. There's no need going back and forth for these individuals who they praise and give worship Sunday services to on a daily. Now, with this Bishop Eddie Long, I think he's been gone. Let me see how long Bishop Eddie Long been gone, y'all. Because I know it's been a while. And let me tell y'all something. Bishop Eddie Long was a phenomenal speaker. Make no mistake about it now. He died 2017. Okay, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so about 5 years. Now, I'm using Bishop Eddie Long as an example. He was a phenomenal speaker. Phenomenal. The man can move your spirit, just like our favorite YouTube cult leaders know how to say the right things to get y'all cheering, know how to say the right things to get y'all tithing, know how to say the right things to get y'all amen, and tell them, get them. Keep speaking the truth, brother. Get these bitchs together. Tell them. These women don't want to hear the truth. Bishop Eddie Long was telling the truth. He was. Bishop Eddie Long knew that Bible. He knew those scriptures in and out. The man knew how to move the crowd. He knew how to stir he knew how to stir the spirit in the atmosphere. What's up, my queen? How you doing? This is why I'm talking about how the Black community and a lot of these men who are still supportive of these pedophiles, even though they get exposed, I'm not worried about anybody supporting these pedophiles, because when God finally gets tired of these individuals idolizing, because you got to remember, God's a jealous God. God despises idolization. If you ever want to piss God off, idolizing and making people more bigger than him, you set people up to be targeted by the wrath of God when you put them up there and make them bigger than the Lord. I don't want nobody praising me more than God. I don't want nobody worshiping me more than God. I don't want anybody tithing to me more than they tithe to God. Because what ends up happening is when people put you on a pedestal and make you bigger than God, you become an enemy of God. And God has to target you and bring you down to those who idolize and worship you. So all of these content creators that think they are bigger than God because they have all of these subscribers, because they have all of these love and supporters and followers, when he has had enough of y'all idolizing them, he's going to bring them down to ruin. Let me tell you, prime example with Eddie Long. People was worshiping this man, no matter how much he kept getting exposed. Photos had leaked out that the man had homosexual tendencies. What pastor goes around here wearing the shirt so tight that it looked like somebody put that it's tighter than them acrylic on the damn jail rail? He been showing signs that he had homosexual tendencies, but the followers and the church members who idolized him kept making excuses for Bishop Eddie Long. Just like they're doing with their favorite cult member, with their favorite cult leaders. No matter how much they keep getting exposed, they keep making excuses for the exposure. After exposure come the excuses. Till eventually the exposure becomes so big, you're not going to be able to lie for them. or cover for them. Now, Bishop Eddie Long kept lying up until the day God decided to take him from here. This man had 3 interviews. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all how God works for a lot of y'all, for my religious people who do have a relationship with the Lord. And for those of you who don't, that is your choice, that is your decision. I'm not trying to change your religion or whatever. I got my own relationship with God, and I respect those who don't. So if you don't like what I got to say about God, you can just gracefully exit or whatever without, bringing all that negative energy over here. What's up, Kai Mobley? Good to see you. But let me tell y'all something. Do y'all not know God keeps leaking and allowing little exposures to come out? Because that means he's trying to give you time to repent and expose yourself. If little things about you you're trying to hide keeps slipping out accidentally, a glitch here and there, or you keep getting caught at the wrong place at the wrong time, these little small exposures that have not exploded yet, that you've been able to kind of dodge and kind of get around, these are signs that you need to come clean with your truth. Bishop Eddie Wrong, you do y'all not think that God gave him plenty of time? He kept giving him chances that you need to come clean to your people. Because my thing is, a lot of people want to hide their demons because they're embarrassed. But at the same time, if you share your demons with the world, do you not realize that there are other people struggling with your demons? If Bishop Eddie Long just would have been honest and exposed himself to the congregation and say, look here, me as your pastor, I have to be honest with y'all. I have fallen short from grace. I am struggling with the demonic urges of wanting other men and young men. And because of that, I am going to have to step down until the Lord helps me to be delivered from this demon. Until then, I don't want to lead, and I don't want y'all idolizing me and following me. I don't want to lead the crowd, to leave the ministry, knowing that I'm not living what I am preaching. Do you know God would have had mercy on him and allowed him to still? He probably never would have got back into leadership, but God could have used him to help other men who were also struggling with those same demons. Creflo Dollar wanted to provide him a $65 million jet. Exactly. Well, I'm going to be honest, Datorion. Any pastor who has the last name Dollar, I would never be a part of his ministry. So those are for the weak-minded. Because honestly, I wouldn't even be a part of his ministry. Who would want a fellowship with a pastor who has the last name Dollar? Hell, his last name might as well be Pastor Creflo Pimp. And people they're still damn tied to his congregation. Bishop Eddie Wrong, after all those exposures, photos started leaking with him wearing these tight shirts. His shirts were so tight, you could see his heart beating in it. Y'all don't believe me? Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all. I'm going to show y'all. Because y'all my peoples. I'm going to show y'all. I'm about to share my screen, y'all. We going to look at it together. Let me share my screen. All right. So we all should be on the same page, y'all. What pastor pastor was a shirt this tight, you could see his nipples. If this does not have homosexual tendencies, I don't know. I don't know what if homosexual tendencies was a person. Let me tell you something. All of these photos was leaking out, and people still didn't want to believe that Bishop Eddie Wrong was getting down like that. What's up, Link? How are you? Now, again, this was a pastor that was idolized by millions of followers, just like y'all idolize y'all favorite YouTube cult leaders. Y'all subscribe, y'all tithe, y'all worship them, y'all defend them. It's been signs that this man was not living what he was preaching. Check this out. Just like y'all keep overlooking these glitches, and it's men need to advocate for other men who want to be with men. Keep on overlooking all the signs. Here's another one. Look at this. In all honesty, I've always felt like men who take these kind of selfies, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every man who takes a selfie has sugary suspects tendencies, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that this man still had, sugary suspect. I wouldn't be surprised, Mobley. I'm not too fond of him either. I'm really not. The way he dresses, and I'm not. And he did admit he had an addiction with porn, but who's to say it wasn't gay porn? Who's to say it wasn't? He always had that sugary suspiciousness to me. This is what happens when you keep making excuses for your favorite pastors and your favorite leaders, all because you worship them, you idolize them. Now, how did he go from looking like this with all these muscles? How he went from looking like this to declining like this? Yeah, this is better. It's a side by side. Look how his health had declined significantly. And it had nothing to do, because a lot of people tried to make excuses. They tried to say it was cancer. They tried to say he changed his diet. He became a vegetarian. No, what happened was it was the wrath of God that was withering away at him. This man lost a significant amount of weight because he was not living in his truth. When you don't live in your truth because you're so afraid of how the world is going to perceive you, you're afraid of all of these, everything you have gained through your lives. And let me tell you something. A lot of people, even these male content creators who claim to be so straight and claim they don't want to own their rainbow culture, they don't want to own it, because they know the same benefits that they are getting not owning it, they're going to lose those benefits once they admit to what they own. They're not going to get the same leverage of notoriety that they're getting now. Bishop Eddie Wrong would not come clean. And that not living in his truth is what took him out of here. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Y'all can say because he changed his diet. Y'all can say because he became a vegetarian. Y'all can say because he was cancer. No, nobody goes from this to that in a couple in a year's time. No, ma'am. Yes, love you. Yes. Love you said he gained through lies. Let me tell you something. Long as you're not living in truth, you're going to keep gaining. Because the devil wants you to keep living in lies. That's why Eddie Wrong did not want to come clean. He knew all of what he was going to lose. So guess what? Because he would not clean, God started making him lose in other ways, starting with his health. Poetic, my sis, good to see you. When you don't come clean in your truth, or people keep lying for you every time you get caught in a glitch or every time you get exposed, it's going to come a point in which you're not going to be able to lie. This man's health had declined rapidly because he would not live in his truth. And let me tell you something. All devils are talented. Do y'all not realize how talented devils are? Do y'all not realize devils know how to speak? Do you not realize devils know how to move the crowd? Do you not realize devils are skilled? Devils know how to finesse. Devils have an aura that make people appeal to them. Mr. Cumnin, welcome to the chat, sir. Devils are very brilliant. Devils know how to speak. Devils know how to keep you entertained. Devils will entertain you so much to where you paying faithfully to see their channels. Devils will entertain you to the point as soon as a notification pops up, you logging on just so you can see and hear what they got to say. The devil knows how to keep his audience entertained. Bishop Eddie Wrong did not want to admit he had sexual urges that was inappropriate. The only sexual urges he should have had was for his wife. This man was not going to come clean. His victims had to expose him. These are Bishop Eddie Wrong's victims who he had to pay off so they would be quiet. But by then it was too late. They had already exposed them. These are his accusers. These are the young men who he paid off to keep them from talking. Exactly, love you. Keep on overlooking the glitches. One day, the truth is going to be so big, you're not going to be able to overlook it. You're not going to be able to disregard it. You're not going to be able to lie and say, oh, it was edited. It was a wrong edit. Somebody edited or misconstrued my words. God has his own timing for everything. And let me tell you something. When you're not living in your truth, you have to constantly watch yourself. And let me tell you something. That is one of the most uncomfortable ways to live, to pretend to not be something you really are. That's straight punishment. It takes a lot of work to not live in your truth, because you have to keep hiding and lying and every time something slips and come out. For instance, and we all have lied one time. We all have told lies. Have you ever told a lie and you had to keep telling another lie to cover that lie, to cover that lie, to cover that lie? Link, you mean Derek Jackson? Because he's no exception to the rule either. That's what I'm saying. Of course, he got exposed. And he got exposed so badly, he couldn't lie. He couldn't lie to his wife. He couldn't lie. Now, several other times, Derek Jackson had got off with lying because he kept dodging a bullet. He was able to cover them lies, but there come a point where you can't cover the lies. So he's no exception. But anyway, enough about Bishop Eddie Long. I just wanted to tell you this to let y'all know that when you're these pedophiles that are among us, the fungus that's among us, the fungus that's among us, the demon in the semen, the demon in the semen, these men who struggle with fighting their sexual urges, that they have to touch somebody's child, they feel relieved. These pedophiles, pookies, have created a thought culture and promiscuous women. Now, I know a lot of y'all are probably going to feel like, well, Mocha, why are you blaming pedophiles for women being promiscuous? I know y'all are saying a woman is promiscuous because she wants to be promiscuous. I know that's what y'all saying. I know y'all are saying, Mocha, you are making excuses for women that are being whores. You're trying to say that women are whores because they have been infiltrated by a pedophile. What I am saying is yes. But does it apply for every woman? Absolutely not. Some women are whores because they want to be whores. All women, some of these women that are whorish, they didn't come up in single parent households. They had a father in their life. So I'm not co-signing and saying that all black women or all women in general are whorish because something has happened. But what I am saying is that a lot of these little girls that was taken advantage of by grown men, once your youth has been tampered with, once a grown man has infiltrated your innocence, once a grown man has sexually introduced your body to things that you're not supposed to experience until you reach womanhood, it does changes you. What's up to now? Blessings to you. What I'm saying is, when a little girl is tampered with, when you mess with the youth of a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, if you're a 40 plus grown, 30 and up grown man, and you sexually infiltrate a 10 or 11-year-old, you're fondling with her breasts. You're fondling with her vagina. You rubbing on her vagina. You licking on her vagina. You're experimenting with the child. You're I know what I'm saying. Basically, you're giving a child an experience only a grown woman should have. Exactly, Mr. Cumming. Pedophiles are giving little girls sexual experiences that only grown women are supposed to encounter. Like I said, and I said it earlier. Some of y'all just coming in here. I said it earlier, and a lot of my sisters in here, they co-sign. The majority of black women, we have been tried by men triple our age. I was 12 years old, and I had a 20-something-year-old, 27, 28-year-old grown man who was getting ready to rape me. Had I not had the sense I did not have, he could have sabotaged my youth. True story. We used to have some woods behind an apartment complex where my mother where we were living with my mom at the time. So these woods, it wasn't a whole lot to do out there. So we would play in the woods a lot, you know. And I'll never forget. I was always kind of tomboyish, so I would play with sticks. I would play with rocks. You know, I just was being a kid. And I remember one time I was playing in the woods. It's a true story. I was playing in the woods, and this, not being a child, not really understanding that it's not safe to play in the woods, especially when you're by yourself. The woods was a shortcut that a lot of these men, a lot of people would take, because there was like a liquor store, or there was like a little path in the woods that people would take, you know, to go to the store, to go to the convenience store up the street, because it was just easier. And I'll never forget, I was in these woods by myself, and I was like walking around or whatever. This grown man was taking this path, and he saw me by myself, and he approached me because it was just me and it was just him. And he looks down at me because he's taller than me. Mind you, I'm like 12 at this time. I'm assuming he was probably about 25, 26. So I'm probably every bit of like 5 feet. And he got to at least be every bit of 6'1", 6'2". The dude was very tall. And he asks me, he says, you back here by yourself? And my instincts as a child kicked in, and I said, no, I'm playing hide and seek with my big brother. And let me ask y'all something. I remember this. Let me tell y'all something. When he asked me if I was back there by myself, you know how a man, you know how you guys, y'all wear like boxer shorts and stuff, and you know how you kind of tuck your thumb behind your pants like you're getting ready to pull it down? So as he asked me if I was out there by myself, just seeing him getting ready to pull his pants down, just the fact that he took his thumb and tucked it behind his shorts. When he asked me that question, as a child, my instincts kicked in. I have had the grace of wisdom at the age of 10 years old. I was 12 years old, so I knew if I told this man I was back there by myself, he was going to take my youth and destroy it. And it's by the grace of God, I just knew what to say, when to say it. Now, had my mom not prepared me for pedophiles and told me, daughter, be careful when you're by yourself, when a man approaching you, this, that, and the third. Now, when if I had a mother that wasn't a mother who didn't talk to me and prepared me for these pedophiles, that man could have ruined my youth. And the crazy part is, even though I was blessed by the grace of God that this man did not get the advantage to infiltrate my youth, every time I ride past those woods, it's a reminder of what could have happened. And that's why I get pissed off when I see these dudes give these pedophiles a pass, because I fear for the young little girls that did not get blessed, who was sexually traumatized and infiltrated, because I could have very well been one of those type of women. And it very well could have happened because I was by myself. And thank God I had the wisdom to think fast and be able to respond. Because when if I would have said, no, I'm by myself, I'm playing by myself, he would have ruined my life. And the crazy part was, it gets more interesting. It gets more interesting. I had a cousin that would pick me up. And I would spend the night in my cousin's house all the time. And one day she saw me walking somewhere and she decided to pick me up. I think I was coming from the store. How about the dude was sitting in the back seat with her? So he could have raped me and I would have ran into my rapist again. And do you not realize that a lot of young women who have been raped, it's never been reported because a lot of us were not educated enough to know that if a man rapes you and sexually assaults you, you report it. So while that man's semen is still activated in your vagina, they could swab his DNA and catch him. A lot of these little girls aren't being educated, and these pedophiles know that. These pedophiles done got smart. They're trying to be slick and not leave their DNA in these young girls, so they're having these little girls suck off on them. They're making sure they don't nut inside these girls or on these girls. These pedophiles have gotten smart to where they be careful where they leave their semen at so they can deny it. Some pedophiles, they even wear condoms. They make sure they don't leave none of their DNA behind. And meanwhile, they're not understanding. That's what the pedophiles are not understanding. What they're not understanding is that when you tamper with the youth of a child, when you tamper, if you're a 30, 35, 40-year-old man, and you have sexually infiltrated a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, once you have sexually penetrated a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, now her chemical imbalances in her body has changed. Think about it. Sex is designed for adults. Y'all can listen to this. Well, she done hit the wall. She too old. Y'all come up with all this stuff so y'all can have a reason to be pedophiles all you want. But what it's doing is becoming a domino effect in the Black community. Because if you are a 40-year-old grown man having sex with an 11 and 12-year-old girl, once you have entered her body, she's no longer a child. She has committed an adult act. So when you have sex with a 12 and a 13-year-old, now you have put her straight into womanhood, even though she's not even a woman. And you wonder why, listen, y'all wonder why we have a lot of these 20, y'all, I'm gonna tell you grown men something. A lot of you grown men, when you were dating before you got married or whatever, you probably had a conversation with a grown woman who was probably 20, 22, 23, and let's say you was 24, 25, you probably had about a year or two. Because my husband 5 years older than me. So sometimes women, we do deal with guys that's older than us. And that's fine as long as there ain't no 20, 30-year-old and then you ain't even 13 years old yet. But you notice when you talk to her, she talks a little childish. You notice how some of these Black women talk very childish when you talk to them? And this is a question to my brothers that's in the chat room. You notice when you have a conversation with certain Black women, how they talk a little childish. They act a little childish. A lot of that has to do with the fact, not all cases, because some women just straight childish, but in other cases, a lot of women, whatever age their youth was tampered, they stay stuck. They youth stay stuck. So if a woman, if her innocence was tampered with at the age of 12, and even though she's 25 years old, she's still going to have that mindset of a 12-year-old. You know why? Because she didn't complete her childhood. Her childhood was taken from her. I'm going to give that a minute to marinate in. Because for some of y'all, I know it's not registering right now. Well, whenever you take the innocence of a child, you stunt her mental and psychological growth. You rob her of that. A little girl is exactly Arrested Development. A little girl is a little girl, and she's supposed to stay one. Link, now we got to touch on all the hot tubs about women who rape young boys. If we're going to touch on the petty males, there are tons of women. I've also done content on that. I talked about with Jada Pickett. I've spoken on that several times. We also have female pedophiles, but the problem is the majority of pedophiles are men. There's going to always be an exception. Yes, there are women out there who molest and take advantage of young women. I mean, there are women out there who take advantage of young men. Absolutely. R. Kelly was raped by his aunt. Iceberg Slim, the pimp, he was raped by a female in his family. A lot of men have experienced that. And I'm not discrediting it, but the truth is, if we're speaking majority speaking, the reason why I'm hitting this particular subject is because too many men are getting a pass. In this black YouTube sector, they're getting a pass. Now, if the majority of these pedophiles was women getting a pass, I would be hitting on them too. But the thing is, these pedophiles, they're still being accepted and respected, and they're being defended. And you have these followers that are arguing with other followers about their favorite pedophile leaders. So, like I'm saying, it's going to always be exceptions. There's no different. Even when I'm in my chat room and I'm talking about single mothers, it's always going to be a single mother that's going to come in and say, well, what about the deadbeat fathers? There are always exceptions. That's going to always be. We know the truth is, it's not just one side that's doing it. But guess what? If I ever went into any of these black male spaces, as much as they get on black women and say, well, what about black men? Well, what about, they're going to kick me out the chat room. There'll always be exceptions. And I've done a video. If y'all look into my archive, I've done a video when I talked about Jada Pickett taking advantage of what's the boy name? Whatever his name is. I also talked about Mary Kay, who died. Mary Kay, the lady who was having sexual relations with one of her students. Mary Kay was having sexual relations with one of her 12-year-old students. Married him, left her marriage to be with him, had kids from him. Matter of fact, Mary Kay, I think she passed like last year. So yeah, we know it's definitely women out here doing it. And one thing about it, I've already done videos on it. So if I've never done videos, then I will be biased. But because I have done several videos, I know I'm not being biased. So that's the thing. A lot of content a lot of viewers, when they come in listening to your chat and they hear you address something, they think you only address that. Anybody who's been rocking with me, the Torian will tell you. The Torian is one of the few that have been with me from day one. The Torian will co-sign and tell you, I've been speaking on women. Matter of fact, Underrated Darkness will also co-sign. I was one of the first black female content creators who ever addressed it, because Underrated Darkness did a video thanking me. Underrated Darkness gave me a shout out thanking me for addressing it, because he was one of the brothers who experienced getting taken advantage of by women. So he said, thank you for speaking on that, because no one ever wants to talk about when the women take advantage of the men. So one thing about me, I'm going to speak on both. This is a non-biased channel over here. So like I said, the Tory on them could tell you, I've been speaking on that. So if you go into my archives link, I got a bunch of videos. You will see I've done at least probably 2-3 videos on women who have taken advantage of young boys, because I am very aware that a lot of women, they're not going to talk about that. But you know what? We are in a society in which people only want to talk about what benefits them. It's no different than these black male content creators. They just want to talk about, they want to bash black women all day long, but they don't want to talk about these guys that's pedophiles. You know why? They don't want to talk about pedophiles because it takes away from the narratives that they want to promote. That is how black people that is how black people do. But the majority of black male content creators and black female content creators, they are only going to address the issues that target the opposite of what they're trying to promote. For instance, if I want to draw a lot of male subscribers, only thing I got to do is drag black women. Or if I want to build most of my audience to be black women, I have to drag black men. In the black YouTube sector, you have to pick a side. People like me will never really get a lot of recognition because I'm balanced. They want me to pick and choose a side. So I'm not going to have a lot of guys who rock with me, because I do call guys out. I do call men out. And I'm not going to have a lot of females that's going to rock with me, because I call females out. That it puts me in the middle. So I'm never going to really reach that high plateau, because I won't pick a side. And in order to grow in the black YouTube sector, you have to pick a side. And I choose to pick a side because both sides are dysfunctional. You got dysfunctional black men and dysfunctional black women. I'm not going to pick and choose a side just because people want me to keep attacking who they don't like. People will support you when you attack what they don't like. But definitely link to answer your question. And I know you weren't being disrespectful, and I don't get no bad vibes from you, but I'm glad you asked that. But because a lot of people do think that. I've had guys come in my chat, well, why you ain't saying nothing about this? Why you ain't saying nothing about that? People like King Ba, King Ba and the Torian, a lot of people who've been rock, they know I will call women out on a SHIT. I don't have a problem doing that. I definitely would do so. But so I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm glad I was able to address that. So I appreciate it. I don't mind people saying, hey, well, why did you not talk about this? Or why did you not talk about that? Because that gives me a chance to say, hey, I did. Check out my archives, check out this and check out that. So it's cool. It's still love over here. But my thing is there's been many bloggers exposing these pookie pedophiles. What they haven't been addressing is how the pedophiles create little girls to become promiscuous women. If you are a 40-year-old grown man and you are having sex with a 12-year-old, do y'all not realize that this contributes to a lot of these young women becoming single mothers? Once a female's body has experienced sex, once that door has been opened, you can't not desire something you never had. Once you have had something, now the desire for it takes place. It's kind of like, I don't desire heroin, I don't desire crack, because I never tried crack. I never tried heroin. Hell, I never even smoked weed, to be honest with you. So I don't have a desire for it because I've never experimented with it. Once you experiment with sex, you will sooner or later desire it. So if a 12-year-old has a 40-year-old man that is sexually experimenting with her body, she's going to desire that again. But the problem is, as a little girl, when you're having sex, you tend to overly use your body for sex because you have not transitioned into womanhood to know that sex is not something that you should just be giving away willingly. A lot of black women, a lot of these young black women are promiscuous, and they have become thots because somebody's uncle, somebody's stepdaddy, somebody's older perverted ass, some old pervert man somewhere took advantage of her. And to be honest, all pedophiles, they don't sexually rough up their victims. Some pedophiles are very gentle during a sexual escapade with a child. They take their time getting it in. Some of them will eat. Some of these pedophiles have become so demonically sexual that they know how to please. They will sexually please the 12-year-old to get her ready. In other words, they know how to sexually groom their victims, if that makes sense. You have these grown men, they know. I understand. It's getting deep. It's getting deep. I'm going to have to be raw because that's the only way I'm going to make people understand that giving these pedophiles a pass, do y'all not understand how detrimental it is? If a man is 40 years old, he's going to do everything he can sexually to that 12-year-old to get her hooked on him. A 12-year-old that receives her first orgasm, that is like a person who experimented, they first hit from crack. They get sprung. A 12-year-old should not be having an orgasm. Orgasms are supposed to be for grown women. A 12-year-old should not even know what an orgasm feels like. A 12-year-old should not be climaxing off of a grown man's penis. Right, King Bar? A 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 10-year-old should not be moaning and groaning because there's a 40 and up grown-ass man pumping up and down in and out of her. It is not supposed to occur. He is ruining her youth. He is sabotaging her youth. A 10, 11, 12-year-old girl should not know what a man's tongue feels like near her vagina or near her breast. I'm sorry, I said breast that are still developing. She should not know how a grown man feels inside of her. She's only 12, 11, 10, 9, 13, 14, whatever years old. The Torian says, a female orgasm is twice as strong in dopamine than a male orgasm. It can have a big effect on her. Absolutely. Absolutely. When a woman experiences, hi my sister, when a little girl experiences her first orgasm, that's any woman in here who has experienced an orgasm knows that is, and you've never experienced it. That is one way. As a woman, you can become hooked on a certain man. When he makes your body release a certain sensation that you have never released before, that's like your first drug hit. That's like that first high. Your first orgasm is your first high. So imagine a 10, 11, 12-year-old who's not even in a womanhood experiencing that type of high. Do you know it's going to cause her, because again, she's not in a womanhood. She has not transitioned to womanhood. That's going to have her screwing like a rabbit. She's going to always look for that same high. And by her being a little girl, she's not understanding that all men cannot make you orgasm the same. All men cannot make you come the same. All men do not take your time to find your spot, to find that combination that will make you climax as a woman. Yes, it becomes addictive. Honestly, and I don't mind being transparent. My first orgasm was from my husband. That's why I married him. I was gone. That's it. Once a man does something to your body that you never experienced, you done. You're done. Why you think some of these girls become some of these men are able to pimp these young girls and have them do sex trafficking and stuff? He was smart enough to introduce her sexually to him. Listen, I'm just being transparent with y'all because y'all my peoples, but I've never experienced that level of sexual stimulation. So when that happened, I was hooked. I never wanted to experiment with no other man because I was given a sexual stimulation that I never received from anywhere else. So, and this happened to me while I'm a grown woman. I was in my 20s at my mama's house. So imagine these young girls who in elementary, who just started high school, and a man has this pedophile has introduced you to your first orgasm, and you're only 12 years old. Exactly. I know, Link. I hear it all the time. That's what I'm saying. These grown men, and no different. If a grown woman makes a young boy climax, that's why that young guy. Remember the teacher who took advantage, Mary Kay. Remember when she took advantage of that young Japanese boy, whatever. I think he was a Hispanic. I don't know. He was a student in her classroom. You make a young man bust for the first time. That's how come. Why you think he been with Mary Kay so long? Why you think Mary Kay was able to manipulate that young man into marrying her? She knew because of her advanced in sex as a grown woman, she knew what to do to that young man to make him bust. Young girls his age didn't know how to do that. My sister said, we about to block you, Mocha. LOL. It's true, though. But there's a trust level that goes within the climax, too. And that's why it's hard to break away. Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because when a man make you orgasm, it's not just a sensation. Now you have bonded with him. Y'all have a bond. You know what I mean? Because sex is it is a stimulation, but it's also an intimate thing. It's very intimate. So you bond with that man. You bond with them. You know what I mean? Because it's a sensation that you never experienced with anyone else. You know what I mean? So absolutely. Yeah, my sister, I did my research on that. He did not divorce her. He was it was one of those things where he didn't divorce her because he wanted to divorce her. It had something to do with property or something like that. It was something they both kind of agreed upon. She didn't want him to be responsible for debt in the sense of something would happen. It was like a legal type of thing. It wasn't like he divorced her because he didn't want her no more. Because that's kind of what I thought. I forgot the reasons why. If I had time, I would look into it. But yeah, it's not like what you think, because I thought the same thing. Yeah, it's that oxytocin, it's that bonding chemical. Absolutely. That's why you cannot just go around having sex with all kind of random people, because you it's not just a sexual connection. You have a spiritual bond with that person. So like I said, when a grown man makes a 12-year-old female climax, that's dangerous. uh Link asks, okay, Mocha, when this happens to a young boy, what is the damage done to a young boy mental state of mind? Can any woman explain this? I think for men, for young boys and for young men and young women, I think it's pretty much the same. What tends to happen is when a young man, again, when a young man is introduced to sex by a grown woman, and he has had his first climax, again, his youth has been robbed, because I think we're in such a world where young men are taught to, well, even little boys are taught to be men. There's this prejudiceness where it's not masculine if a young man was to admit that he was sexually taken advantage of. Society has basically given women a pass, because men are taught you're not a real man. How, if you're complaining, because by nature, men are supposed to enjoy sex. So when a young boy is complaining that he was sexually taken advantage of, society perceives him as weak, perceives him as soft or as a simp, and it has nothing to do with that. He is still a child, just like that female is still a child. So what tends to happen is he gets his growth is stunted, and a young man, he's stuck at that man-child syndrome. He's stuck there because even though his body has experienced something that a man should experience, the problem is he experienced it with a little boy's mindset, with the mindset of a child. And that is not his fault, because just like the young female, the young little girl is supposed to enjoy her youth being a little girl. A little boy is supposed to enjoy his youth being a little boy. But again, society has misconstrued what masculinity is. So young boys are taught you're not supposed to complain if a woman rapes you. You're not supposed to report a woman who rapes you. Like I said, R. Kelly experienced it. So either way, that young man, he's psychologically damaged, because A 10, 11, 12-year-old boy should not know what it feels like to go in a woman's vagina. He's not supposed to be introduced to that type of sexuality, to that level of sexuality. He's not supposed to know anything about that. So what will happen is one or two things. It, for one, it's definitely going to stunt his youth. Now he may become promiscuous, especially if 9 times out of 10 he enjoyed the sexual escapade. Now he's going around here screwing all type of females. So he can very well also end up a promiscuous young man. Because as a young man, once you experience that first type of orgasm, you're going to look for that again. It's like crack. You take your first hit, you're going to look for that same high again. And yes, just like the young female who ends up becoming a single mom, who has all of these kids from different men, because now the pedophile has tampered with her youth, and she was not trained how to discipline herself with her with sexual behavior. And yeah, I mean, Link is very sick. I mean, I had a male cousin who experienced it. His mother was on drugs. And while his mother was on drugs at 7, 8 years old, he was sexually taken advantage of by her little crackhead friends. His mother was so strung out on drugs, she didn't even know her crackhead friends was using her 7-year-old son as a sexual experiment. And that's what a lot of these pedophiles do. That's what I'm saying. You know, everybody wants to talk about pedophiles and supposed pedophiles, but what about the victims? What about what they got to go through? And these 12-year-old, 13-year-olds that have been taken advantage by pedophiles, these are 30-year-old, 40-year-old grown women who now have multiple baby daddies, who are part of the high bracket of single mother households. Now, everybody just wants to say women are hoes, women are thots, but in some cases, there's a grown ass man somewhere who has contributed to that. Listen, there's a grown perverted man right now as we speak. That's 42, 43, 44. He's grooming a young female right now as we speak. He's grooming that 13-year-old by buying her stuff, by giving her stuff. Pedophiles know how to groom their victim. And for all of these single mothers that are dick thirsty, dick hydrated, moving men into your home who you've only known for a month or so, and you thinking they into you. No, they're trying to get into your home so they can get into your children. One thing about it, pedophiles are smart. They're not dumb. They know how to charm. They know how to, of course, I'm definitely gonna leave it up. Definitely, I love you. These pedophiles are very brilliant at what they do. Sick, but brilliant. They know how to make little girls feel comfortable around them. They'll pick them up from school. They'll buy them their favorite ice cream, buy them their favorite little trinkets. These pedophile trinkets. It's a lot. And like I said, the worst part of it is You're making what these pedophiles don't understand is you're making these little girls women before their time. They're not ready for those type of emotions. Now, it's bad enough that the chemical imbalances in their body is going to change, but now also their mental psyche, because now you have made them women before their time. Now they feel like they could go around and let all type of men raw dog them and screw them because you was the first man to introduce them to that. You was the first man to introduce them to orgasm. You was the first man to introduce them to sex. So because you introduced them to sex, you didn't educate them to sex. You didn't protect them from sex. Now they're going out here in amongst this world, letting all type of dudes take advantage of them just like you did. And God forbid if they don't have a father or a mother that is coaching to them, that is raising them and teaching them the right thing, they're basically self-taught. They're going to go out there now and become thoughts. That's why we have such a high thought culture. Every girl that's a thought ain't a thought just because she wanted to be. Somewhere, her mama boyfriend, her uncle, a grown man who was a neighbor, watching her play in the yard with her toys. He kept grooming. The pedophile groomed her. Like I said, the majority of Black women, all of us have been tried. I'd have been tried a lot, and a lot of the women in chat admit they have been tried. Some of us was blessed by the grace of God to dodge the bullet of being sexually assaulted, sexually molested. Some of us were blessed and dodged the bullet. But what about those who weren't as fortunate? Who couldn't push that uncle off of them because that uncle was 6'7", 250. And she only weighs what, $110? What you gonna do when a grown man tells you, if you tell anybody, I'ma kill your mama, I'ma kill your daddy, you 12 years old, you don't know that he's lying and he's manipulating you. What are you going to do? Well, you know, as soon as you get out of school, your mama boyfriend is going to be in that apartment waiting on you. You can't come home from school and just do your homework because, you know, Mr. Freddie gonna try you because he knows your mama get off of work at 6, 7 o'clock. He got to hurry up and get it in before your mama get off of work. You can't tell your mama because she ain't gonna believe you, or she act like she's so crazy about Mr. Freddie. She's so in love with Mr. Freddie. You have little girls that are scared to tell their desperate, stupid mamas that Mr. Freddie, your boyfriend, won't stop trying me. Every time you go to work, he always here. The true story. This happened before I get ready to log off within 15 minutes. This happened to one of my a friend of mine. She did not know she was with a pedophile pookie. And this man had been taking full advantage of smashing this woman's little girl, daughter. She wasn't like 10 or 11, but she still was too young. She was like 14. And this little girl was not his daughter. And basically, he had been raping this child almost every day. She couldn't go home peacefully, get out of school like some young girls. You go home, have your bowl of cereal, watch your movie. She went home in fear because she knew what was going to go down. Every day, she had to deal with that. And this one particular day, I guess God had enough of him taking advantage of this child. And there's one particular day, her brother, God fixed it, where her brother so happened left something. He had to go back to the house. He go in an apartment, hearing his sister moan and groan in agony, not in enjoyable. She didn't sound like she was in pleasure, but in agony. He opened the door, his stepfather smashing his sister. How you a grown ass man with a 12-year-old, with a 14-year-old who got her legs up in the air? Your self-esteem, a lot of these pedophiles, their self-esteem is so low. They don't have the confidence to talk to a woman. They rather go to a little girl because they don't have to put in work or effort. In some cases, they don't even nicely try to groom them. They'll just rape them and take it from them and control them. Some of these pedophiles, they don't groom, they don't buy them stuff, they don't work their way up. They just take advantage of them. They just start assaulting them sexually. So when the young boy caught her brother, of course, got on him or whatever, called the police, he left the scene, called the mother, told her whatever. He tried to fled, but the police found him, got him, locked him up. He's doing time. The grandma, not the mother, she's shocked. She's in disbelief. She didn't believe her Pookie was smashing her daughter. It took her son to catch him in the act. So when she went to the jail to go and see him and confront him, do you realize this coward would not even come to the window? Every time she tried to visit him, he would decline seeing her. He was such a coward. He did not want to face her mother, even though he had been raping that woman's child all this time. And I wouldn't be surprised if she knew my Cecile. That's right, Kai. What's up, Brenda? Blessings to you. Yeah, and like I said, he was such a coward. When she went to go confront this man about raping her daughter, which I'm sure she about knew, she was so in love with her Pookie. She did not want to acknowledge that he was raping her child. She wanted to deal with it. Her penis was more important than protecting her children. She went to the jail to go see him. This joker would not come to that window. So she never got the closure. Not even if he was, what my thing is, I don't know what kind of closure she was looking for, because what could he have possibly said that was going to make her feel at peace? Exactly, my sister. I ain't buying it either. Well, you a mother, you know. Your daughter acting funny. I know what's up going on with my daughter. She gets distant. She'll leave the room. Something makes her uncomfortable. I got to do my research. What's going on with you? Why are you acting funny when this guy come around? What's going on? I'm going to ask her questions. And if she's not going to tell me, I'm a damn sure confront him as if I know he did something. Even if I didn't get the details, I'm going to make him think that I know you pulling something. And the moment I find out, all hell going to break loose. That is what mothers do. Mothers pay attention to when their children are acting different. That's what mothers do. A woman that's more concerned about her man, she don't pay no attention to her children's behavior. She don't pay no attention to their attitude because she don't want to. And all these women who be wanting to get away, you let your child spend the night with any and everybody, that's not cool either. No grown man who don't know a woman that well, he shouldn't feel comfortable moving in with her and all her kids. Something is wrong with that. If a man wants to move into your apartment fast and he doesn't even know your children, something is wrong with that. It's a whole lot going on in the world, y'all. I'm telling you. It amazes me you have grown men co-signing pedophilia. Not all of them are still co-signing. They're still affiliating with men who admit that they have pedophilia tendencies, to men who are being charged with pedophilia tendencies. And it's sad. But one thing I have noticed is that the Black YouTube sector is the most contradicting sector. I will say it again. The Black YouTube sector is one of the most contradicting sectors in the YouTube space. They won't accept one thing, but will tolerate something else. One thing about Black people, they are for what they are for. They are only for what suits them individually, not what suits the community. It's a lot of contradictory. And on other levels, you know, I hear men talk about Black women hating on Black men, and then there's Black women talking about Black men hating on Black women. Well, really, both of y'all are just hating on each other. Just call it for what it is. You got men that are okay with Black men disrespecting and threatening Black women, all because they hate Black women. Now, I understand. There are a lot of Black women out here that are promoting negative content and messages about Black men, but you don't have to take that out on all Black women by saying all Black women got problems, all Black women are failures. And same thing, just because you got one or two Black men that have disappointed or doing some shady stuff, you don't have to put all Black men in the same box. Black people want to put everybody in the same box once one person makes them feel some type of way. This has been going on in the Black YouTube sector for years. And you have these Black male content creators, the Black female content creators who are in favor of Black men, who try to support Black men. They really don't acknowledge them type of sisters. They want to keep talking about the sisters who don't like Black men. Well, what about the sisters who do rock with Black men, who do support y'all? Y'all don't ever, these dudes want to keep talking about the Black women who are not in favor of Black men, but the women who are, y'all don't support them, y'all don't show them love, y'all don't stop by their channel and drop off the cash out. There's so many dudes out here that I have supported. I have been in their chat rooms, I have stopped by, showed them love or whatever, but they don't return, they don't show it in return. It's all about you supporting them, marketing them, you showing your loyalty to them, and they're not showing their loyalty to you. I have had Black male content creators I have shown my loyalty to. I have been by their channels. I have stopped by, hey, what's up? Showing you love. They don't do it with me. And they wonder why women such as myself, which I have not done it, but there are women who will go to spaces in which women who will support them. But then they'll say, you fake, you phony, how you rocking with these people? Well, I'm rocking with them because when I tried to rock with you and rock with your brand, you wasn't supporting me. A lot of these guys who started off with a small YouTube sector, for some reason, when their numbers get big, they forget about the sisters who was there supporting them when they only had 5 or 6 subscribers. Now they got over 500, 700, 800. They don't, I done got lost in the crowd for most of the brothers that I have supported. I have got lost in the crowd for most of the brothers that I have supported have put me on the shelf once the most popular content creator sisters that have way more subscribers than me, they shout them out more. They give them more acknowledgement. I guess I don't have enough subscribers or followers for you to acknowledge me or for you to stop by and show me love. And you wonder why females such as myself, they end up going to other spaces where you're not getting love or appreciated in one space. You got to go to a space where you feel appreciated. That is just why some of these sisters who used to support men, now they rocking with women who don't support men. Because hell, when I supported you, you didn't invite me to your panel. You didn't invite me to your channel. You don't stop by. I have cash after some of these guys who haven't even sent $2 to my channel. How is it every time you go live or I get a notification from you, every once in a while, even if I'm just donating $2, I'm still doing something. But when I have a notification, you never come over here though. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of contradiction. You got a lot of these content creators. They want everybody to show their loyalty. They want people to be for them and about them, but they can't return the favor. Exactly. So a lot of places I don't go anymore. And in their mind, they might think I'm being phony, I'm being fraudulent, because I don't rock with them. I'm not going to keep showing love for people who don't show me love back. It's not fair. I'm over here, when you playing the game, I'm a cheerleader. I'm on the field cheering for you when you're playing, when you got a game. But when I'm live and I'm doing my thing, you don't never come this side. So I've gotten to the point to where I realize that the gender war has made a lot of black men and black women has a lot of them have got lost in the sauce with the gender war. They so focusing on the black women who hate them that they don't focus on the ones who was there. The dedicated female subscribers, the dedicated female supporters, we have gotten lost in the sauce because they're too busy focusing on the popular content creators that basically bash black men all of the time. And I guarantee you, the only way you'll get attention from them again is if they see you at somebody else's channel. Oh, how she over there rocking with them? See, she just like the rest of these other black women. See, she ain't true. She ain't true to who she is. She was never for the brothers. Well, when I tried to be for the brothers wasn't for me. And I've gotten to a point now in which, I realize that sometimes your ethnicity, your realness, everybody's not going to be appreciative of your realness, of your genuineness. I realize that genuine people, we somehow get lost in the sauce. We get lost in the crowd. People don't pay attention to us at sometimes because they done got so used to our loyalty. They done got so used to our dedication. So it's like, okay, Mocha's in the chat, big deal. But you'll spend hours at a time talking about women who don't even like you, don't even rock with black men. They were for them to act like they unbothered by black women. They will do a rant, a red pill rant for 2-3 hours about black women who never liked them, who never supported them, don't even like black women. But you don't even take the time to say, look, you've been one of my strongest female supporters. I would like to bring you on the show. I would like to help your brand. I would like to help your brand, build your brand a little bit. How about you come over here and do a show? So anyway, y'all, we ain't gonna rant too much longer about that. Again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all. for hanging out with me today on the chat. Of course, big ups to Datorian, everybody who super chatted, those who could not super chat, but you hung out with me and supported me. Again, I appreciate y'all. Again, only going places where you know you're going to be respected, you're going to be appreciated. People don't only have you there for convenience. They don't only have you there to be a cape and cheerleader. Make sure you know where you stand with people. In the words of Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, please believe them. All right. So big ups to everybody in my chat. Those of you, even if we had difference in opinion, I still thank y'all for y'all support. I still thank y'all for still collaborating and giving me y'all input, and we had a good dialogue and good conversation. So again, you know, nothing on this chat is personal. We all were giving opinions. So I don't want anybody in the chat feeling some type of way, thinking that their difference in opinion made me feel some type of way, or I'm going to look at them different. No, it's all about being adults. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to communicate. So trust and believe, even if your opinion was different from mine, it does not mean I did not accept it. I don't acknowledge it. I don't embrace it, because I totally do. All of us have something we can offer or contribute when it comes to knowledge. So again, y'all, I appreciate it. It is your girl, your diva, and knowledge, Lady Mocha. Remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth and always break you off with a slice of knowledge. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday, and y'all be blessed. Take care.